Hello friends, this is the second part of the most horrible experiments people have ever done. Get some tea or something stronger and let's go. Stanford Prison Experiment. This is a psychological experiment conducted in 1971 at Stanford University in California. It was aimed at studying the psychological impact of power and authority on people by recreating a prison environment. 24 male participants were randomly assigned either as prisoners or guards and placed in a simulated prison environment for 2 weeks. However, the experiment had to be terminated early due to severe psychological stress of the participants and unethical behavior of the guards. The experiment showed that people begin to behave in accordance with social roles and expectations, even if these roles are offensive and harmful. The experiment is considered a classic example of the dangers of obedience and conformity. Project Aversion. From 1970 to 1989, South Africa conducted a secret program to purge the army of non-heterosexual soldiers. The project was a series of experiments led by psychiatrist Aubrey Levine. These experiments, medical and psychiatric, were aimed at curing the homosexuality of men and women in the South African Army. The methods used in this experiment are considered medical torture today. Hormonal drugs, stun guns, chemical castration, and sex reassignment surgeries were used. Experiments on humans in Guatemala. The United States government conducted medical experiments with sexually transmitted syphilis in Guatemala in the 1940s. Subjects were intentionally infected without their knowledge or consent, and then the effectiveness of penicillin in treatment was tested. The experiments lasted for 10 years, from 1946 to 1956, about 1.5 thousand people were infected, and 83 subjects died. Study of the effect of radiation on testicles. The University of Washington, on behalf of the U.S. government, conducted a series of experiments to test the effect of radiation on American prisoners in the 1960s and 70s. Testing the effects of radiation on humans is unethical and illegal because it harms living organisms. Milgram Experiments. This is a series of social psychology experiments conducted by Yale University psychologist Stanley Milgram in the 1960s. The experiments were designed to test how far people would go to obey an authority figure, a leader who encouraged them to do things against their conscience. Some participants were convinced that they would electrocute others. They did not know that the electric shocks were fake, but believing that they were real, some of the participants were willing to administer these shocks to other people. That's the second part. But there are many more interesting things to come. So subscribe to the channel so as not to miss anything.